Well, this video is basically told you have a special ability with heavenly restriction that will give them some kind of special ability to sense cursed spirits and cursed energy. Well, I'm gonna work with basically Google AI here to help me out, and basically for us to see if it's true, if it's possible, you know. Maybe they have a special ability, maybe they don't. So and if they don't, can the Hashira also be able to sense cursed spirits and cursed energy as well? Well, let's find out. So basically, Maki and Toji heavenly restriction. What's the heavenly restriction? Let's check it out. What's Toji and Maki heavenly restriction? Restriction. And what is the power up? And what does it do? JJK. Okay, so this is what it says. Heavenly restriction is a binding vow. It's like a binding vow placed on a person at birth, exchanging their cursed energy for immense physical power, or vice versa. In the case of Toji and Maki, their restrictions completely strips away their cursed energy. So basically, they have zero cursed energy in exchange for superhuman physical gifts that rivals even the strongest of sorcerers. Right? That's why we see them doing things like moving at the speed of Mach 3, being able to destroy buildings and kick giant trucks with ease, right? Facts. That is meaning these guys are freaking superhuman. Superhuman in the highest level. So basically, yeah, heavily restriction removes their cursed energy, gives them superhuman capabilities, enhances their five senses to look at the road says they perceive cursed spirits by tracking air displacement, temperature shifts, and spatial changes. Their five senses is basically enhanced to the utmost human level for them to be able to sense cursed spirits. And if you don't be, and in JJK it says that cursed spirits are basically the creation of human negative emotion. So basically, cursed spirits are made out of human emotions. So unless you can see or sense human emotions, then you can unless you can do that, then you cannot be able to see or sense basically cursed spirits. That's basically just how cursed spirits are. The same thing with cursed energy. So cursed spirits are made out of humans' negative emotions, right? Like Mahito and every other cursed spirits known to existence. So unless you can sense emotions from another human being or something like that, you cannot sense cursed spirits or cursed energy. But I may be wrong here, so you can just put in the comments to see if I am accurate or not. So there's the other ones too. Cursed weapon mastery. I don't think I don't think their heavenly restriction gives them cursed weaponry mastery, but I would say that it gives them the physical stats needed to master a weapon or something like that. Oh, they can also bypass their inability to naturally harm curses, which is basically the tools they use. So so basically my question is, can the Hashiras also sense curse spirits, similar to Maki and Toji. Now, this is what Google is saying, right? This is what Google is saying. No, the Hashiras cannot naturally see or sense cursed spirits, but their hyper developed physical senses operate on a very similar mechanical logic. I want to explain that part a little bit more. So, the Hashiras cannot naturally see cursed spirits, but that's sensing cursed spirit. I think they're wrong in that part. Let me explain. Let me explain this, okay? Don't be like, no, the ushers can't do that, or so on and so on. So basically, this is what it says. The mechanical overlap tracking the unseen. Maki and Toji do not see her spirits with spiritual vision. They observe the physical displacement of the environment, air currents, temperature drops, and gaps in space. Multiple Hashiras possess sensory gifts refined to this exact same level. To the same level. You see, Guillaume now. Despite being completely blind, Guillaume uses a form of echolocation and spatial awareness, so to absolute that he perceives his surroundings perfectly. He would detect cursed spirits instantly by noticing a massive, dense, blank space in the air, something like that. Tengen Uzui utilizes musical score, a technique where he deconstructs enemy movements into sound. He would track a cursed spirit by listening to the specific frequency of air vibrations and physical footsteps it creates. Sanemi, as a master of wind breathing, Sanemi is hyper attuned to changes in air currents and pressure. He would perceive the precise aerodynamic displacement caused by a curse moving through a room. And I would argue that every other Hashira, maybe except for Shinobu, can do exactly this same thing as well. Like for example, the Hashiras has been shown multiple times to be able to sense spirits, somewhat like similar to Rengoku when Akaza appeared. He did not really see Akaza, but he knows that there was someone there. That's not the best one to use, but that is like an example at least. Or Giyu when Akaza was coming. Giyu did not see Akaza, but he knew that Akaza was landing in that exact space that they're coming in. So at the transparent world versus Maki's soul perception. At the absolute peak of Demon Slayer, advanced Hashira unlock the transparent world, which allows them to see the muscle alignment, blood flows, and joint movements of living beings. This is structurally almost identical to Maki's post-awakening ability to see the souls of inanimate objects and predict mechanical shifts in the environment. So the Ashura, they are still standard humans within their world's rules, while they have the raw physical senses required to track and physical footprints of a cursed spirit. They cannot naturally harm one unless their weapons are imbued with cursed energy. Well, that is fact. No one is arguing about that one. If they had weapons similar to Maki and Toji to be able to harm cursed spirits, they would definitely destroy them because, yeah, their senses are similar to Maki and Toji in terms of finding if a cursed spirit is there or not. So you guys basically saying that the Hashiras cannot sense or see cursed spirits. That's just plain wrong. That's just wrong because the Hashiras, these guys are peak level superhuman. They're peak level superhuman. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. We're still 10 minutes in. No prob, no prob. What other question do we have concerning this matter, concerning this case? But if you with the comment so far, please put it on comment. If you don't, tell me where you disagree with, because come on, I believe the Hashiras can definitely sense cursed spirit. Though they may not be able to harm cursed spirit, but they can definitely sense cursed spirits as well. What is going on? Okay, guys, sorry about that. I was just looking at something. So yeah, basically the Hashiras can detect cursed spirits like Toji and Maki can. Maybe someone like Shinobu cannot, because she's not really like, her physical senses is not as heightened as the other Hashiras. But in terms of speed, yeah, she's definitely blitzing blitzing a lot of Hashiras. I mean, a lot of cursed spirits. Yeah, she's definitely blitzing a lot of them. But let's just say if they had a cursed weapon, then yes, they would be on similar, if not better, fight against the, if not better than Maki and Toji, completely. So yeah. So there's still other topics I'd like to explore. So basically, the heavenly restriction does not give Maki and Toji any special physical abilities, like any special abilities. The only thing it does, it gives them enhance human physical senses. And the Hashiras have trained themselves to be able to have that enhanced physical human changes as well. So yes, if whatever you scale Maki and Toji in the world of JJK, the Hashiras will be on similar terms as well. In terms of strength, speed wise, we already know that the Hashiras are already faster than them. So yeah, in terms of strength, speed, durability wise, might be where Maki and Toji might have a better edge over some of the Hashiras. But yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys will argue that Toji beats Tengen. How does Toji beat Tengen though? Look at this. Uh Tengen is a Hashira, right? But before he was a Hashira, he was a freaking ninja. This is not like, how do I put it? This is not the ninja that we're seeing now or something like that. The ninja that Tengen and his family trained in were to the point that they were killing their own siblings. So Tengen is basically a master in stealth, weaponry. He has incredible battle IQ, and is an awesome hand-to-hand fighter, as we saw against Gyutaro. And in terms of strength, it is mentioned that Tengen weapon, right? One hit of his weapon is comparable to his explosions. It's comparable to his explosions. So if you say that Tengen cannot beat Toji or damage Toji, then you guys are just freaking wrong. You guys need to do more detail on this kind of topics. Like seriously, you guys really need to do more details, because you cannot really be saying that Toji or Tengen cannot harm or damage Toji. It's like you guys are just watching Demon Slayer from reels or something. But yeah, basically all that. Tengen also reacted to his explosions. And his explosion would basically be at about massively hypersonic or so, around that kind of levels of speed. Why for Toji? Because Maki is basically Mach 3 plus, or let's just say Mach 5, Mach 10 highball. Meaning Tengen would just be able to blitz Toji easily, and as well as be able to destroy him. Yeah, if they were actually fighting for real, Toji is an assassin, no problem. But Tengen is a freaking ninja. Yeah, I believe Tengen wins that fight easily too. I believe he does. I believe he does. So let's just say Tengen versus a cursed spirit, right? Let's just say Tengen weapons are made out of cursed tools, something like that. Let's say Tengen versus Dagon. Okay, Tengen versus Dagon. So in this fight, we already know that Tengen does not have cursed energy, right? So it basically would not affect the Dagon's domain will not affect Tengen the way it will not affect Toji. So yeah, Tengen versus Dagon will basically go similar to how Toji fought against Dagon. Yeah, definitely. It would definitely be similar. That's how I see it, at least. It would definitely be similar. If cursed spirits can interact with the physical environment instead of passing through walls like ghosts. But no, they actually have to interact with the buildings, interact with the inanimate objects instead of passing through them like ghosts. That's yeah. Let me show you that. What are curse spirits? What are curse spirits? So that we can know and identify what they actually are. Because a lot of you guys are saying that cursed spirits are like actual spirits or something like that. No, they're not. But this is what it says. Cursed spirits, also known as curses, are spiritual monsters born entirely from collective negative human emotions. So that's what I said earlier. Cursed spirits are made out of human emotion, negative emotions. Yeah. When human feelings like fear, hatred, anger, grief leak out into the world, they accumulate over time like sediment. This condensed negative energy eventually clusters together and takes physical forms as a cursed spirit. So basically, those are cursed spirits. Let's Google this. So basically, cursed spirits are human negative emotions, right? Like this is just yeah. Yes, that is exactly right. Cursed spirits are literal physical manifestations of human negative emotions. And I like this and I actually like this concept as well. Okay, I like this concept. Ooh, fear of the ocean, the gone. Fear of volcanoes and wildfires, Jogo. Fear of human hatred, Mahito. Yeah, I actually love this concept. It makes sense. So, if the Hashiras could sense let's say bloodlust, it should mean they would be able to sense cursed spirits, right? Or am I wrong? right or am I wrong? Okay, so I'm partially right. If a cursed spirit radiates bloodlust, killing intent, or raw malicious emotion, high level Hashira would absolutely sense it. However, every cursed spirit is completely calm, hiding or passive. Sensing bloodlust alone would not work. I know that. Entirely of compressed negative emotions, hatred, malice, anger, and so on. When a cursed spirit is actively hunting, angry, or preparing to strike, it leaks an overwhelming wave of negative intent. The Ashura's hyper-trained instincts would interpret this emotional wave as a massive spike of bloodlust, allowing them to pinpoint the enemy's location right before an attack. So, yeah, the calm blind spot. I know that. If a cursed spirit is just floating quietly in a room, waiting in ambush, or has human like intelligence, I can suppress its emotions like mine, so Kajaku, it won't radiate bloodlust. Yes, since Ashras cannot see curse energy itself, they would be completely blind to a passive curse until it actively decides to show aggression. But, hold on. But hold on. Before we continue, let's just say something. But hold on, okay? Cursed spirits are still made out of human negative emotions, right? And the Hashiras don't, and the Hashiras and the Hashiras won't sense bloodlust, calm curse spirits. But since they are made out of negative emotions, Dasha should still be able to sense them. Whether they are blood lusted or not, right? Because of their heightened senses. Let's check it out. Okay. Okay, let's see. You're looking at the logic perfectly, but there's a specific rule in Jesus Kaizen that prevents this from working. Even though cursed spirits are made out of negative emotions, once those emotions condense into a cursed spirit, they turn into a unique substance called cursed energy. Yeah, a calm cursed spirit does not feel like a collection of human thoughts anymore. It just feels like spiritual battery juice. Here is exactly what the Hashira's heightened senses still cannot pick up on a calm curse. The chemistry analogy, ice versus water. Think of human negative emotions like water vapor floating in the air. When millions of people feel those emotions, the vapor condenses and freezes into a solid block of ice, which is the first spirit. Okay, the Hashiras are geniuses at smelling, feeling, or senses the humidity or warmth of active human emotions, which is like the water vapor, right? However, once that vapor turns into curse energy, turns into ice, it changes its molecular form to a normal human. Even a Hashira that even a Hashira, ice, that ice is spiritually invisible and odorless. It no longer radiates the raw feeling of human anger. Okay. It is now a completely different spiritual element. Okay. Emotions versus curse energy. In Jujutsu Kaisen, there's a strict difference between feeling an emotion and emitting curse energy. When a normal human feels terror, they are emitting a psychological emotion. When a cursed spirit exists, it is made of cursed energy. Yes. Because the Hashira come from a world without jujutsu, their brains lack the specific sensory receptors required to feel curse energy to their heightened senses. A calm curse has no scent, makes no spiritual noise, and radiates zero emotional heat. It is a total blank. When the emotions leak back, the only time a Hashira would sense the negative emotions inside a curse is when the curse flexes its power. Okay, I can see that. When a cursed spirit gets angry, prepares to attack, or uses a technique, it converts its stored curse energy back into raw, violent intent, which is like bloodlust, malice, terror. That is the exact moment the emotional vapor leaks out again, causing a massive spike that Ahashira's instinct would immediately scream at them to avoid. Okay, so you are entirely right that the raw ingredients of a curse are human emotions, but because those ingredients are permanently cooked and transformed into curse energy, a calm curse effectively hides behind a spiritual cloaking device that physical human senses cannot pierce. Okay. So let's ask this question. So how exactly does Maki and Toji sense a calm, cursed spirit, but the Hashiras can't because their heavenly restriction because the heavenly restriction does not give them a special ability. So this is what they're saying. The key to this puzzle is that Maki and Toji are not sensing the cursed spirits or cursed energy or emotions. They are sensing the curse's physical body and its impact on the laws of physics. That is exactly how the Hashiras will sense them as well. Even though a cursed spirit is invisible to normal people, it is still a solid physical mass that takes up space in the real world. Exactly. The difference between Maki and Toji and the Hashira comes down to the absolute god-like limit of their physical senses. So, still basically what I'm saying. Okay, imagine an invisible man standing completely still in a room. A Hashira might listen for his heartbeat or smell his sweat, but a calm cursed spirit doesn't have a human heartbeat, a human scent, or human blood flow. Therefore, the Hashira senses nothing. Maki and Toji see the room like a 3D grid. Even if the invisible man is perfectly still, he's still blocking the air. He's still blocking the air current flowing from the air conditioner. Is absorbing a tiny amount of heat, making that specific spot in the room zero point 0.1 degrees colder. His body is physically displacing a few gallons of oxygen. Don't see the curse. They see the exact shape of the hole the curse is making in the atmosphere. Okay, I actually understand what they're saying, but at the same time, I still feel that the Hashiras with their superhuman senses would also be able to sense this exact same thing as well. So basically, either this will end in a 50-50, or I'm going to come to a conclusion here because, I mean, okay, okay, let's just continue going. Let's just continue going. So you saying, hold on first, okay? Just hold up. Okay. Just hold up. If I come to a complete conclusion here, just hold on. Let me just finish typing this stuff up. Let's just check it out. Let's check it out and see, okay? Okay, no problem, no problem. Cursed spirits are non-biological. Exactly. I know that is for sure. But they still take up presence in the world. Like, okay, I wish this stuff had like some kind of, I can just talk through, but whatever. Let's just see how we do this, okay? Okay. The curse is completely non-biological. When it is passive, it does not have a heartbeat. It does not breathe, and it does not have cells. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like I think they don't exist, but they do exist. Cursed spirits are like, though they can't be seen with the human eyes, right? Of someone who doesn't have cursed energy, but they can still interact, but they can still interact with the surroundings, right? But they can still interact with the surroundings around them. Around them. They can't pass through walls like a ghost, right? So, if so, then I still believe the Hashiras' heightened senses can still pick up on those little details. Can still pick up on those little details, right? Let's just check it out first, okay? Let's check it out. Okay. Exactly. Cursed spirits are not intangible ghosts. They still have mass. They cannot walk through solid walls. They step on the floor. They interact with the physical world. Exactly. That's my point. That is my exact point. Okay. Here is exactly how the Hashira senses would detect a calm, invisible cursed spirit based on my points. Okay. No problem. The physical clues a Hashira would notice, because Hashiras have pushed their human senses to supersonic levels, they would easily catch the microscopic physical evidence a curse leaves behind, even if the curse is completely calm and hiding into motions. Like for example, now I'm not talking about this what is written here first. Let's just talk about this one first. Like for example, Sanemi. When Sanemi was like, look at it, we got sound. Sanemi, look at that. A Hashira like Sanemi would feel a sudden change in wind direction or a tiny draft blocking because an invisible body is standing in front of an open window. Like basically, what I'm saying is that similar to how Sanemi caught Nakime eyes, right? Because Nakime eyes was hiding really well, but Sanemi could still sense it that it was there, that he was being watched. So if Sanemi and the Hashiras can pick up on clues and stuff like that, then I definitely believe that they can be able to pick up on clues on whether cursed spirits are there or not. Since cursed spirits cannot walk through walls and all that kind of stuff, they can sense if they're being watched. That's number one. That's just one thing. They can sense if they're being watched. They can sense if, and they can also sense the exact place that they're being watched as well. They can also sense bloodlust if any cursed spirits around them want to kill them or so, even if they cannot see the cursed spirits. That is what we're basically learning right now, right? They can hear, let's say, footsteps. Like, let's look at that part in this. Look at this. Let me show you something. Jogo, Jogo, and Kenjaku entering a store. Something like this. Let's just check this out first. Oh, come on. Come on. Don't do this to me. Oh, come on. Google is something else, man. But if you remember the episode of what I'm talking about specifically, right? Jogo, right? Jogo wanted to enter into a store. That episode where he destroyed and burned everyone inside that place yeah, into kebabs basically. Jogo opened, like, he physically opened that door to enter into the place. So meaning that someone with heightened human senses can hear their footsteps when they're walking. For those that are flying, they can hear basically subtle sound movements, because all the Hashiras, their ears are already heightened to the point that they can hear, like for example, Tengen basically, Tengen detects a sound coming from a cave. Demon Slayer. So yeah, in this very episode, right? In this very episode, Tengen actually detected a sound coming from underneath the cave. I'll be right back. Just hold on, okay? He's alright, guys. I'm gonna cut this one short now, so have a good one. I don't know how long I have paused this video because I'm just realizing now that the video has been paused. So I don't know if it has been long or if it's instant, but I have finished my explanation. Uh, so yeah. All right.